Hello, and welcome to the Fiskerton Phantom. Before I start all this, I wanted to take a moment and thank all of you who left so many nice comments in my past videos with well wishes to my family and myself over the recent loss of my grandfather. I greatly appreciate all of them and tried to reply to as many as time would allow with my new schedule. Also, I hope you all had a fantastic holiday week and my time away from YouTube. A few weeks ago, I made a video about alien big cats, and I kept running across the name of the Fiskerton Phantom. After checking this being out, I quickly realized it truly didn't fit with the idea of big cats, as it actually fits more with one of my favorite topics, which is cryptids. Today I have decided to end Season 2 of the Cryptid Spotlight series with this creature, but don't worry, Season 3 will return in a few months. Without further delay, let's look into the story behind this cryptid, a bit of its description, and as usual, what it possibly could have been. The United Kingdom plays host to many strange unexplained creature sightings, with big cats being one of the most famous encounters. With that said, the creature found near Fiskerton, Lincolnshire, takes the prize as one of the most elusive and unique of all cat-like reports. Our story starts on August 27th in 1997. Where four girls on holiday came across the life-changing event. Rachel Rowan, who was 12, Nikki Hanley, age 11, Joanna Brogan, age 10, and Nicola Proctor, 9, were staying at a caravan park near the Terwitt Arms pub in Short Ferry, where they decided to go out for a hike in the forest. On their trip, they noticed something odd moving in the bushes. Being curious, they moved in closer to get a better look. They came across the strange 4-foot-tall bear-like creature, hunched over eating what appeared to be a dead pheasant. The being was said to be bear-like, but not a bear, but more of a mix between a bear and a cat. It had black fur, very sharp teeth, and extremely long claws on its front limbs. The girls froze at the sighting before regaining composure and running off for help at the previously mentioned Terwitt pub. A man by the name of Dave Brumhead, who owned the bar, listened to the girls' sighting, and at first considered it may have been a prank, but he went on record as saying it couldn't have been a hoax, as the girls were terrified and near the point of being in shock. Not only this made him come to this conclusion, as something interesting popped up later, which I'll get to shortly. At one point the girls returned to the creature's location, only to find it had moved on. But according to all reports, large paw prints had been left behind in the dirt. I tried to find images of those prints, or even reports of people making casts of the markings, but sadly, I couldn't find anything. What makes this story a little more interesting is that later that day, a motorist driving through the area encountered the same thing, and stopped by the pub afterwards. According to this new sighting, the driver was going down the road when he spotted something jet black and fairly tall, off the side of the road. He stopped his car to get a better look, but the creature had already disappeared into the tree line. As with the girls' report, the driver of the car also stated that he had found abnormally large paw prints in the dirt. After doing a little more checking, sightings have been reported of the same strange creature in the area for a few years prior. Every sighting had the same description, but the only difference that should be noted is that the prior reportings, as well as later ones, claimed that the creature had glowing red eyes, and in some cases it resembled a gorilla mixed with a cat. One such report came from a man named Adam, who posted on a blog on February 4th, 2009, that when he was 4 or 5, he had been staying around the same caravan park when he decided to play in the same forest as the girls. Not too far in, he heard some strange rustling in the trees and looked up to see the Fiskerton Phantom hanging from a branch, only using one arm. This terrified him enough to run away, but to this day the creature's red eyes had been burned into his memory. Apparently he researched what he had seen, but turned up empty-handed, and refused to talk about the story to anyone for fear of ridicule. Years later, he mentioned this sighting to his fiancée, who noted the similarities of the creature Adam saw with the animated character Fiskerton from the Cartoon Network TV show Secret Sundays, who was designed after the Fiskerton Phantom sightings. With this new information, Adam finally knew what he had encountered, and that he wasn't alone in his experience. In a lot of the retellings of these stories, it is brought up that reports have been noted in 2011 as well, but that is as far as the information goes. With all that information being presented, we now must turn to the possible explanations as to what this being actually is, especially when figuring in that sightings have been scarce for 6 years. I'd like to start off this discussion with keeping a paranormal mindset to it. With the description of the black form and red eyes, I know many of you will sort of guess what I possibly think it could be. The Mothman. While no wings were spotted, and its size is a little bit short for Mothman, I can't read those descriptions without automatically drawing the connecting lines. I'd like to point out a bit of a discrepancy, in that the girls never mentioned red eyes, but earlier reports did, which would be quite a huge detail to forget about or miss. The only thing I can think is that if the being does have red eyes, then maybe the girls didn't see the eyes if they observed it from behind or from a side angle. While I'm not saying it disproves the sightings, I always find it questionable when every cryptid seems to have glowing red eyes, which by all rights would make descriptions more interesting and terrifying. Keeping in the mindset of alien big cats who are considered cryptids but at the same time are spotted frequently enough to make them more of a fact, I think we may have a link here. Many of the sightings of the Fiskerton Phantom mention the bear properties, but what is normally forgotten about, or dare I say conveniently left out, is that quite a few sightings actually mistake the identity for a black panther. Obviously, this huge cat isn't native to the United Kingdom, but similar species have been spotted before. The only thing that goes against this idea is that if it was a panther, the girls may not have fared too well if they decided to turn their backs to it and run away. Chances are good the cat would have chased them down. On the other side of the coin, I mentioned the 2011 sightings, but all of them fail to give much detail since if you look into it, all of them are of Black Panther sightings in the area. While looking into this topic, I came across a video by a content creator by the name of Waptech, who made his video with a huge skeptical view and that the girls made up the whole story due to their age. I can't agree with that mentality, since age does make me question things, but it doesn't prove sightings are less valid. The one thing he did bring up was the fact that the forest that this being was supposedly spotted in was quite small, and the surrounding area was 90% farmland, making it quite difficult for an animal to remain hidden in it. With that said, it is a good point and something to keep in mind, but due to the lack of sightings over the past 6 years, and nothing of note prior to 1997, it lends more credence to the being not actually making its home in Fiskerton. It may have traveled to the area, but then left just as quickly as it came. As usual, I now turn to you for your opinion on what this creature was. Do you think it is some unknown being, or was it simply a large dog, or even a big cat? Also, if you happen to live in the area and have any encounters with this cryptid, I'd love to hear about it. I read a story from someone who lived in Fiskerton that there are stories of a wild man who once lived in the area, and it is assumed that many of these reports are echoing those legends. Before ending this video, I wanted to send Elizabeth Shinsky a warm welcome to the Ben Miller Patreon family. Thank you so much for your support. If you are new to my channel, please give me the honor of clicking that subscribe button. Also, I would greatly appreciate it if you could share my content with someone who you may think might enjoy it. I had a rough end to 2017, but I'm going to get things back on track with the start of 2018. With that, be safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.